Joe Rogan gives his thoughts on Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr.
When Terence Crawford's going to fight Errol Spence,
Yeah.
that fight is going to be crazy.
Yeah, man.
That is a crazy moment where you got two undefeated champions in their prime,
Yes.
and no one knows what's going to happen. You're like, I don't know.
So we're going to get back to Joe Rogan in just a second. Really quickly, just a reminder to all the UFC fans. I know you guys are going to be watching UFC 291, but Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. is also going down on the same day. You know, they're probably going to space it out so the main events don't lap over each other, but definitely tune in. If you're not watching both UFC 291 and Crawford versus Spence, you're definitely going to be missing out. But let's get back and see what Joe Rogan has to say.
Terence Crawford's never been in a boring fight ever. Neither is Errol Spence. I think they're going to go after each other.
Well, they know how to tattoo their opponent, so I can imagine them just tattooing each other, you know, back and forth.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Terence, what stance he uses too.
Joe Rogan is definitely onto something here because the way Terence Crawford can switch from southpaw to orthodox, it's something that Errol Spence Jr. is definitely gonna have to be on the lookout for. But before we move on, please be sure to leave your prediction for this fight in the comment section down below. Are you going with Terence Crawford or are you going with Errol Spence Jr.? And how do you think this fight is gonna play out?
Because he, in my opinion, he's the best switch hitter since Marvin Hagler. Like nobody switches like Terence.
Yeah.
Terence just, he's southpaw, then he's orthodox, and is just as good from both sides. And you gotta like do all this calculating in the middle of the fight and switch it up. Everything's coming from a different angle now.
Yeah, your brain is not moving as fast as it should be.
That's such a big
The body
advantage.
can't move that fast if your brain is
Right, you have to think.
thinking so much.
Now, Joe Rogan hasn't given his official prediction for this fight, but the way he's talking about Terence Crawford makes me feel that he's leaning towards Terence Crawford to win this fight. But we can't forget about Errol Spence Jr. I mean, this isn't going to be an easy fight for Terence Crawford. I think we all know that. Errol Spence Jr. is one hell of a fighter, and he's gonna bring it to Terence Crawford. He may not be the best switch hitter like Terence Crawford is, but Errol Spence Jr. has an arsenal of weapons.
He's a genius.
Always thinking.
That he'll come out and fight the first 5 rounds as a southpaw, and you think you got him figured out, and then he'll switch stances and fuck you up.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
That kind of genius, that kind of high fight IQ is crazy.
What's also that ambidextrous ability is so critical. I mean, that was Marvin Hagler. Marvin Hagler used to switch back and forth, and no one, you couldn't do jack shit about it.
It's not like Errol Spence Jr. is going to be surprised in the ring when he sees Crawford switch from southpaw to orthodox. He's going to be prepared for that. And if Spence closes the distance and starts letting his hands go, switching from southpaw and orthodox ain't really gonna help you. So this last clip we're gonna watch is actually Joe Rogan interviewing or doing a podcast with Terence Crawford. Let's take a look.
Guys, that like you're a special dude.
Of course, of course. Like I always tell people when they mention me and Errol Spence, you know, of course I want the fight. I tell everybody that. I always say, with or without him, I'm going to the Hall of Fame. When you look at all the things that I've accomplished in the sport of boxing, people that's in the Hall of Fame didn't even accomplish that.
I don't think anyone can disagree with Terence Crawford here. Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford are both future Hall of Famers, no doubt about it. But once again, I think it's very clear that Joe Rogan is Team Crawford. You know, he's interviewed Terence Crawford before. He's never interviewed Errol Spence Jr. And the way he talks about Terence Crawford, you can just tell he's leaning towards Team Crawford. But yeah, there you guys have it. Joe Rogan gives his thoughts on Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. Once again, please be sure to leave your prediction for this fight in the comment section down below. How do you think this fight is going to play out? It's going down this weekend, so you have to watch both 291 and Crawford versus Spence. I mean, it's mandatory. It's a massive fight weekend. I am definitely excited, but that will do it for me, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already, and watch this video next.